Okay, now we can understand what Rabbi Yosef said. This is Tet Zion. What did we just learn in the previous sikha? That you have to be humble and assertive at the same time. Just like Moshe was leading the Jewish people out, and he was still the most humble person in the world, like Mount Sinai was. That it was a mountain, but it also had the quality of being the lowest mountain. Now we can understand what it says at the end of the tractate Sota, that right before Mashiach comes, it's going to be a terrible world. There won't be any wisdom, there won't be this, and there won't be any humility. Said Rav Yosef, just 1 second. Rabbi Yosef said, don't say there won't be any humility, because you got me. We're in right now before the Mashiach, and I'm humble. How could he say it? If he's saying he's humble, kasha l'chora, this doesn't make any sense, okay? Be with me? Doesn't make any sense. Hari ein eitzah tova bilavad, this is not just a good advice. Ki im chova v'zihirut me'isur gomor. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the line. I'm sorry. The ika'ana, lo tishaneh she batla. Don't say that there's no more humility in the world. Mishum shekayam, because I exist. Hari l'chora, at first glance, davar ze'atzmo hu machshiv atzmo la'anav. If he considers himself to be humble, that's the opposite of humility. Yeshno masbirim. Some people say that Rav Yosef thought that lo megia lo kavod. He just didn't think that it was coming any honor to him. As therefore he said, don't tell me that I'm humble. The ika'ana, because there's me. Hine lo megia lo kavod. You don't say that I am humble, because I'm not humble. That's what he's saying. Don't say anyone is humble, right? Even me, don't say that I'm humble. And this shows that how humble everybody really is. You're calling me humble. I'm not humble, right? You people are humble, don't say. But Rashi says, no, it's no good. Te'ika ana, when he says there's me, ani anvasno. Rashi says that what is Rabbi Yosef saying? I am humble. Therefore, that the fact that Rabbi Yosef knew about himself, that he was humble, somehow or other, this does not present a contradiction to the fact that he was humble. Or in simple language, a humble person can know that he's humble. Now you think, what is a humble person? A humble person is he doesn't think about himself at all. He just thinks everybody is better than me and I'm nothing. I don't think about myself. Saying, no, that's not so. A humble person can definitely think about himself and can know that he's humble. This explains that the fact, true humility is a person knows his good qualities, like Moses did. Moses knew that he was the person to take the Jews out of Egypt. He knew he was the only one to go up on Mount Sinai. He knew he was the only one that could lead the Jews. And he was very firm with the Jews and very strong with the Jews. He knew his good qualities. He didn't say, okay, whatever, if that's what you want, so. And but one of his good qualities was that he was humble. Why? Because he was totally surrendered to God. Mishum sheburur, because he knew that all of his good qualities, and he knew what the good qualities were. All of his good qualities, even his quality of humility, eino mishalo, they're not his. Ki'im matana, they're all just gifts from God. Kefi shehuz barleh, like we explained before. Everything that he has is a gift from God. And also, it could be that if somebody else had these gifts, they would do better than me. Yitachen gam shezet tam lakach. That's why Rabbi Yosef also was called by the name of Sinai. There was Sinai b'okar harim. Sheken itbatlut, because Rabbi Yosef, he was in the level of Sinai. Yeshlo yitron al har, on being a mountain. A mountain is just high. We see the other mountains, Mount Carmel, they were high and they wanted the Torah. Being high and being assertive and being talented is wonderful. But Mount Sinai has an additional advantage. It's also a mountain and it's also humble. Hu sharui limrodzot pitpatlut. Even though that he knew that he was a mountain and he knew how great he was in learning Torah, but he also knew that he was humble. he also knew and really felt that everybody was better than he was. Yud Zayin. Kach, Yuven, Gam, and Emor Gemara. Now we can understand what it says in the Gemara. Omer Rav Yosef. It says, Rav Yosef in the Gemara in Sota. La'olam yilmad adam midat kono. A person should always learn from God. Shari Kodesh Baruch Hu heniach kol harim v'gvot. God was the one who did not want to give the Torah on any one of the mountains or hills. V'hashra shchinato, and he gave his shchina on Mount Sinai. At first glance, this is a little bit not easy to understand. Hari enzo eitza tova bilavad. This is not just a good advice. What does he say? Forever, a person should always learn the attributes of God. Why? What you should learn from God? That God, when he gave the mountain, he gave it on a mountain. When he gave the Torah, he gave it on a mountain, but he gave it on a low mountain. Ki im chova v'zihirut me'isur gomor. Rabbi Yosef was saying, this is an obligation. A person must learn from God to be humble and also to be assertive. You have to be at the same time. God came down to Mount and he gave the Torah on a mountain. But it was a mountain that's being assertive and giving something, breaking through. But on the other hand, God gave it on a low mountain. You also have to be humble. L'shem ma tzorich, number one. This is not just advice. This he's telling you a person must. La'olam, a person must learn from God and be, right, choose to be humble and at the same time very assertive and very out. L'shem ma tzorich hochacha midat kono. Why does it say you should always be like God? Why doesn't it just say To'evas Hashem kol go'ev alev? He should have just said, it's a simple sentence in Mishlei and Proverbs. God hates an egotist. Anyone who is haughty, God hates him. Why does Rabbi Yosef have to say you should learn from God and be humble? Right? Why make a statement like that? King Solomon already said it. God hates a person who's not humble. Why does he have to say learn from God? The answer is very simple. Now we can understand what Pashtut. Ein medubar kan b'hitnasut ve'hargashetiot shel klipa. Here he's not talking about egotism that's bad, that's selfish, that's haughty over others. Davar she'ein tzorech lilamod et shlilato mehar Sinai. That you don't have to learn from Mount Sinai. King Solomon was already telling us hundreds of years earlier, God hates someone who's an egotist. The type of egotism here that he's talking about, that Rabbi Yosef says you have to keep away from, and that you can only learn from Mount Sinai, medubar kan b'hitnasut shel kedusha. It's talking about that even if you have an elevation, an egotism of holiness, you really know the Torah, you really are a superior person. You really are like Moshe. O b'shat matan Torah yesh ladat, that you should know that hakli Torah, the only vessel to Torah, is not your intelligence and not your greatness and your sharpness, but rather you really want to learn the Torah. Avoid any sort of egotism, even egotism of holiness. Even if you're the Rosh Yeshiva and everybody's bowing, everybody has your picture on their door, on their wall. But nevertheless, the only real vessel to receive Torah is ach varach hitbatlut. It's only by means of total surrender to the Creator of the universe and not holding from yourself at all. All right, we can do a little bit more until Dan comes. Yudches, I'll just say it in English. In this whole topic of Mount Sinai, there is also an additional lesson to be learned. A Jew has to do the commandments not because of any sort of personal reasons, not because of the reward he's going to get the physical world, like it says in the Chukotai Telechu, I'll give the rains in their time, and also not because of any reward of going to heaven. You should do the commandments not because of going to heaven, not because of why do the commandments then? If you're not thinking about going to heaven or not getting anything good, why? Maybe you should do the commandments because it purifies you. Says the Rebbe, no. Those are all true. If you do the commandments, God promises, I'm going to give the rains in their time and you'll have a good life. And if you do the commandments, God promises you're going to go to heaven. And God says if you do the commandments, it refines a person. God only gave the Torah to purify people. But that's God's business. That's not your business. That's not your business. God's business, He'll give you the world. He'll give you whatever you want. But that's not your business if He does or if He doesn't. Why should you do the commandments then? If you're not going to get anything out of it. He says, no, you are going to get anything, but you shouldn't be thinking about that. Then what should I be thinking about? You're doing the commandments for the best, most precious reason of all. Greater than any reward that you could possibly receive. You're doing what God wants. You are actually doing the will of the Creator of the universe. Like it says, if God would have commanded us just to chop wood, we would do it. A thing which we would get no reward for, v'shum segula, and there is no sort of a benefit from chopping wood except you get wood for your fire. Who needs wood for your fire? You have a fireplace in your house. You need wood. Who needs wood? God says, my commandment to you is just chop wood. What for? What for? You're already asking questions. God Himself tells you to chop wood. You chop wood. And you should be tremendously happy that God spoke to you and told you to chop wood. Right? If the king would tell you to chop wood, if, who knows, I don't know, somebody that you really value, if there's such a thing, I don't know if anybody values anybody nowadays. But if someone you really hold in esteem tells you to do him a favor, a role model, tells you to do something, you see, oh, you're so happy to do it. Sha'az hu makayem davar v'chayos. Then you're doing the commandments because God wants, then you do it with excitement. If not, if you do the commandments because of the reward you're going to get, you're never sure you're going to get that reward. It could be you'll do commandments all of your life, and all of a sudden, right, at the last moment, you do something wrong. Right? You say a wrong word to the wrong person, who knows what. You get angry, somebody cuts you off, you get angry, and you yell at somebody, and it's the chief rabbi. Right? You yell at him, I cursed him out. Right? I said,
then just apologize.
I hope you say, but you cursed out the chief rabbi. And nowadays there's videos, everything is there. That's the reason you should do the commandments. Is only because it's the will of what Hashem wants.
I apologize to the chief rabbi.
Yes, but it's on video, and they'll put it.
It doesn't matter. Apologize to him, even if it's on video.
You want me to talk, or you want to keep talking about it? You want to just keep talking, and that's
just let's forget that we're talking about it. Move on. Forget about it.
If you do a thing like that, it's going to be on video. It's going to be on the news. It's going to be on everywhere. It's going to be. They won't put your apology on. There are certain things that a person does that can't be excused, right?
You can do tshuva.
You can do tshuva, but nevertheless, the thing that you did has been done, and you have no idea what effect that could be on your soul. You're not letting me finish a sentence, though.
Go on.
Let's go.
Let's roll.
Doing the commandments. If you want to do the commandment for some sort of a reason, then this is an external person. A person's thinking about himself. He does not really devote himself to doing Torah and mitzvahs. He's just investing. He's making an investment of his time and his place, but himself he's leaving behind. Like the previous Rebbe said, a person has to throw himself totally into his work. Like the previous Rebbe said, Zeh shebaisko be'inyan mesuyam natanu legamri b'inyan zeh mibeli lachshov v'beli lashir b'oto shah makom lamashu acher. It was a person that he had, if this is the same story, there was a person that had a shoe factory. He asked for the Rebbe for a blessing. And he said, I've seen people put their feet into shoes, but to put your head into shoes, I've never seen. Your whole head and your whole soul is into these shoes. That's the way that you should be in Torah and mitzvahs. Not to think about any rewards, not to think about any benefits, not in this world, not in the next world, not even to refine your soul. But why should you do the commandments? Because
Hashem said so.
You're connecting with Hashem. Very good. Have a good day, everyone.